Yeah, hi there. These comments are for R. I'll just use your first letter of your name for privacy purposes. Alright, so you're one of my students at my online TOEFL course called the 7-Step System to Pass the TOEFL IBT, and you've purchased the additional package where you want me to do a video giving you complete comments, even editing and correcting the errors that you're making in your essay, and that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. Alright, so the question is, it is generally agreed that society benefits from the work of its members. Compare the contributions of artists to society with the contributions of scientists to society. Which type of contribution do you think is more valued by society? Give specific reasons to support your answer. Alright, so let's take a look at what we have. And what I'm going to do first, before I comment on the organization and how well you have addressed the task, I'm going to go ahead and make my editing suggestions. Although scientists do much research, make discoveries and important contributions, I'm going to see parallel structure here. So if you say do much research and you put make but not a verb after an, how about this? We say do much research, make, how about discoveries, and create maybe. That way you have a verb, verb, and a verb. See that? They do research, they make discoveries, and they create important contributions. I think that we can't live without without our culture? We can find a way to live without scientists because, maybe put a comma here, in every career we can find specialists. Of course, we can't remember many scientists' names. I would put apostrophe here, but we, how about maybe will or may never forget Picasso, Beethoven, Mozart, and many other artists. History can proceed without scientists, but it's impossible to do the same without artists. Your next paragraph. Usually artists are trying to make effective contributions. This is demonstrated by many magnificent museums worldwide which people can become familiar with and have access to. Good grammar there. All their works include attractive colors and designs that adorn a wide range of cities. How about you can reduce your adjective clause, maybe say adorning a wide range of buildings, many cities maybe. I would say that their works adorn the buildings but not just the cities, so that kind of clarifies that a little bit. You have actually, we can't imagine all the effective touches worldwide that refer to art or evoke admiration, especially not statuaries. You want to say statues. Statues that appear in every country and reflect, singular, its, because you said every, right? Every country, and reflect its culture. Of course, every artist has his own style that makes his creations completely unique from each other. For example, Michelangelo has his attractive touches that are completely different from other artists. Immediately when you see a Michelangelo painting, no, you want to say this, you will recognize that he created it. If you visit Rome, you will find meaningful inscriptions over the museum's entrance. Put apostrophe S there. Okay, so I think we're okay. You have believing that the Constitution of any country must be written by politicians. Wow, good grammar, my goodness. Very advanced grammar. That's a very nice, using that present participle in the beginning to precede your independent clause. Excellent. You say we must realize that the Constitution of the United States was written by many types of people, including artists. For me, it is interesting to visit any country and recognize its culture. Every country has fascinating town squares or city centers which are designed by artists. Many people value scientific achievements. I don't know, this kind of makes it difficult because many people value scientific achievements. You're just talking about having fascinating town squares or city centers designed by artists. It doesn't tie very well. So if you did this, maybe, although many people value scientific achievements, in my opinion, society is better served by artists' apostrophe touches, which instill essential, how about cultural elements in our lives. Okay, do you see that? Alright, so we took a look at it. I went through, and I'm finding out from this essay you have very good control of your grammar. You did not have that many problems. I expected more problems with your grammar than what I'm seeing here. So you have pretty good control, I think, over your subject-verb agreement. You had some minor punctuation issues. You had a few minor problems with word choice. Not that bad, right? So you're doing a pretty good job with that. Okay, now let's take a look at the rubrics. I'm going to go over and let me click on, I'm going to go over here, independent writing. So what we want to do now is to take a look at the rubrics. Okay, so to score 5 out of 5, 30 out of 30, your essay directly and effectively addresses a topic in the task of the writing assignment. No, believe it or not, you did not do that. Addresses a topic and task of the writing assignment well, you did not do that either. So you probably won't score in that area. 3.75 addresses a topic and task using somewhat developed explanations, examples, and details. Notice says has one or more of the following. You did not do that. You cannot score in the 3 range on this. Your practice test has one or more of the following weaknesses. Limited development of ideas as they relate to the topic and task. Yes, this is exactly what your essay does. So I'm going to give you right now 17 to 18 points out of 30, 2.5 to 2.75. So you have a few problems, but I don't think that your problems are in your grammar or your word choice with this particular essay. I think it is in your organization. Now you're probably saying, what is going on? Why are you saying that, Michael? Let's go back to the question. So the question says, compare the contributions of artists to society with the contributions of scientists. Now if we look at your essay, we can see that your entire essay and your thesis, it frames around scientists. No, actually it frames around artists. Notice, you discuss artists here. Your next paragraph talks more about artists. Your next paragraph talks about Michelangelo, an artist again. And then you're talking more about artists in this area, and even you end talking about artists. So what you want to do, unfortunately what you did not do, is you want to present a comparison of these two groups first. Now let's take a look at the website, and let's take a look. We can see your essay here. You posted it. Now what we want to do is, let's take a look at the actual sample. Now the sample is very different from what you did, because if you look at the thesis here, it says, more specifically, we can observe and compare the contributions of artists and scientists. Based on the criteria of who is seen to be more necessary, we can say which group at society values more. So this writer starts off talking more about artists, and it says they've contributed much to our living environment and culture. That's the purpose of paragraph 2. Now then the next paragraph, paragraph 3, the writer says scientists have benefited society. The discoveries of scientists have contributed to agriculture, medicine, and technology. And then focuses around those 3 contributions there. And then when we get to the final paragraph, this particular writer talks about our society is lucky to have contributions from artists as well as scientists, but I think scientists are more valued because they contribute to what society defines as quality life. Now it doesn't really matter what the writer chooses here. You could have done what you did and focused more on artists. This writer focuses more on scientists, but the fact is that your essay does not have a clear organization. The organization that you're using doesn't match the organization that you need for this particular writing assignment. That's why I gave you the score I did. Now, even if we assume, let's say that with this particular writing assignment, there's some big problems going on with this writing. Now let's say that we get rid of this. Compare the contributions of artists to society with the contribution. Let's just say let's just say it's simply asking you, which contribution do you think is more valued? Those from artists or those from scientists? And let's just say you're focusing on why you think artists are more valued. Now if you take a look at your sentences here, you're saying that we cannot live without our culture. That's an assertion that you're making in that second paragraph, but that's not very focused. You have to state exactly, if you want to focus on why artists are more beneficial. Now that's not what the question is asking you to do, but you need to create more argumentative topic sentences focused around something specific. You say artists are trying to make effective contributions, but you don't say what really. Now if we go back to the writer here, look at this guy. So if you take a look at the depth of the detail here, it says the artists, such as painters, writers, architects, and designers, have contributed much to our living environment and culture. Their contributions are reflections of the inner self of the culture, and these reflections are an expression of a cultural collective being. You see that? So this sentence here, it helps defend the previous sentence, the previous idea. Back. Now then take a look at the example. It says, for example, when we look at the paintings from St. Peter's Cathedral, they reflect the strong religious values and beliefs of the historical period, which was a contribution of artists during that time. This contribution could be considered a legacy as well as architectural contributions such as the pyramids in Mesoamerica. These contributions allow us to study the societal values and beliefs of the particular period in history. You see this? So this one is focusing the paragraph around artists and has much more detail than what you have in your particular essay. You're not getting enough specific detail, even if we assume that you're trying to argue in your paper why the artists are valued more. You're still not presenting enough detail to do that. Now let's go back to your writing for a minute. Now also, you probably, if you look at what you're trying to do here, this, for example, Michelangelo, you want to put that in the same paragraph because it's not really good to begin a paragraph with an example, right? So if you really take a look at what you're trying to do here, you really would have to go back to your thesis and say, it's impossible to do the same without artists because of their cultural and their historical contributions. If you said that, then you could argue why you think the artists have made what's called cultural contributions, and you can also argue why they've made historical contributions. So you should probably go back and rewrite your thesis if you wanted to make the argument as you're doing. But remember, the way that you framed your essay doesn't really argue around the writing assignment. Now, I use the word historical because I saw the Constitution and kind of what you were saying there. So to me, that focuses more on the historical contributions of artists than the other ideas you might be saying are focusing more on the cultural contributions of artists. So just some stuff to think about. So that's kind of some of my comments. And so I think the main thing though that you want to get out of this review is you want to make sure that you have directly organized your writing around the writing prompt. That's really what you want to try to get from this particular lesson. Now if we go back to the website, and I'm going to give you some things I think you should take a look at. Okay, let's go back to the website for just a second. So we're going back to the 7-step system, the online TOEFL course. I'm going to kind of take you through some things here. I think that when you really take a look at what's going on here, I'd like to have you take a look at a few things. I think that you need more practice with what's called organizing your essay. So I'd like to have you take a look at lesson 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4.1 is very important because it talks about the effective qualities of a good thesis, and it will take what you've seen in these videos and kind of restate it or repackage it in a very easy to understand manner. So make sure you take a look at that. Now also take a look at effective topic sentences, using transitions, and writing details. You don't have good details to support your ideas. That's also causing you some trouble. But the most important thing is you have to go back maybe to lesson 1. It says you better read this. It talks about the importance of directly addressing the writing task, which you did not do, right? You see what I'm saying? So you definitely can benefit a lot. These few lessons here, I know this is a lot of information, but it will get you organized. It will get you better organized around the writing assignment. So for some reason, when you looked at that writing prompt, you didn't see compare or didn't understand what it meant. Remember, compare is a type of question that you might see in the independent writing task. So you want to make sure you know how to organize this type of writing. So think about that, and what you can do is go back to where you completed the practice test And it would be a good idea for you to spend some time reading the model essay. What you want to do is, if you go back to your particular practice test, you can read the model. Let me go back to it here. I think you did number 7, right? So let's go back to it right now and kind of show you how this page works. This is a very, very effective, very useful page. So I've already scored your practice test, right? So when you go back, I'm going to show you what you will see. Okay, so you're going to see, you will see what you wrote here, and then underneath you will see the requirements of this particular essay. It says the essay will have a well-organized one that accomplishes the 3 purposes of the assignment. First, the writer must compare the contributions of artists to society with the contributions of scientists to society. Second, the writer should take a position by choosing either the artist or the scientist as the one who makes the most contributions. See, that's what you didn't do. Technically, you answered half of the question. That's it. You did 50%. So what do you think the TOEFL is going to do if you answer 50% of the question? That's why I put you in the 2 range. I gave you half. I gave you a little more than half. I gave you 17 or 18 points because I liked your grammar, your vocabulary, whatever. But the bottom line is you didn't answer the question. So what you want to do is read this. This is called the model. This is the model essay. Now after you read the model, I will explain to you why this particular essay will score how it scored. So it talks about how the essay demonstrates clear competence on both the rhetorical and syntactic levels. Then of course you see your score here at the bottom. Okay, so anyway, there you go. So in this video, I think you probably have learned a few things. We can recap them right now. I think the most important thing that you have learned from watching this video is you need to directly address the writing task. That's exactly what you want to do. Now, if you want, here's what I recommend. Believe it or not, I know as crazy as it sounds, I recommend that you redo this essay. I do. Now, you don't need to do this as part of the additional package that you've paid for, but just rewrite it following the organization I suggested. Just post it over at the website, and I'll just give you a numerical score with some basic comments. I'm not going to go through and give all of these comments again. And then you can try another essay, and I know that you paid for this service, and I will go ahead and go through the video commenting on that one. But really what you want to do is I think it's important, is you want to get the complete comments, the video comments on an essay. You see the prompt for the very first time, you only take 30 minutes to write it. You don't do multiple attempts. You do it one time and then give me a chance to critique that particular essay so you can really know where you are. Alrighty, anyway, thank you very much. I'm glad to have you as a student. I got to tell you, you are working super hard. You're fantastic. Keep the fight up. You will beat the TOEFL at some point. The main thing is don't give up, keep working hard, and you will continue to make progress.